Welcome on into another episode of the Benchwarmers. I'm Daniel Brown. That's Alex Anderson joining us via Zoom from the Death Star. Alex,
Yeah.
it's Labor Day when we're recording this. You've earned a well-deserved day off, but you're still working on your off day. Why?
Because, I don't want to leave you high and dry. It's that time of year. And I just left you high and dry at the beginning. I guess I can't hear programming over here, so I didn't hear the animation go. So
Okay.
that would be an explanation there. I'm watching Bill Belichick walk onto the field as the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Absolutely insane stuff there. But yeah, man, look, we're in this podcast thing together. Doesn't take me anything to throw up a little phone tripod and activate the Death Star lights, and I get to show off the Death Star a little bit, so I'm happy with that. But not to mention, we have a ton of stuff to talk about because football is back. Friday Football Fever, first one's in the books. College football, week one, about to finish up here. Where do we start? I mean, we have so much to talk about.
Let's start with, I guess it would kind of be my ticked off a little bit. It happened today. The Saints released JT Gray.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm out of the loop.
What the heck, man? The special teams captain, been around. It was like JT Gray's not, the most important player on a team. He's a special teams gunner. But he's like that reliable, car that starts up whenever you need it, gets you to A to B, and, no matter what's going to be there for you. So that happened today. So kind of ticked off about that as a Saints fan. And Tyrann Mathieu, also retired Saint, retired because those gold jerseys, was like WTF or not agreeing with it. Alvin Kamara also saying that he didn't agree with it. I hate to start off on a downer, if you will, but that was at the top of my mind today. Like JT Gray, no longer a Saint. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I appreciate you doing that because we are officially the only podcast in America that led with JT Gray getting cut on the first week of college football. So I love it, man. No, look, it is what it is. It's a new coaching staff, a new regime. They're going to make some changes that people don't like. And let's be real. In 5 years, we're not going to recognize this roster at all, right? It's going to be Kellen Moore's team and whatever. And I think that was a big knock you could have for Dennis Allen was that he just tried to keep Sean Payton's thing without Sean Payton. And you saw how it worked. So it sucks. It's a business, but it is what it is. Honey Badger, you're retired. I mean, okay. And Alvin Kamara, we should listen to what he says. But
yeah.
The gold jerseys, did you, if we're already here, you saw they're wearing them week one, right?
Well, I'll have my review on the next Benchwarmers podcast because then we'll have it's one of those things where I think I've already kind of went back on my initial hatred of the jerseys. Like they may grow on me because seeing them in video or seeing them in person, like, okay, how do these look in the sunlight, if you will, those dome lights on CBS coming up against the Cardinals. We'll see how it is, but it's a mountain out of a molehill in terms of the gold jerseys, because I think the more elite color, like the gold on the white color rush jerseys, that gold is like, that is the gold I had in my brain of what I was thinking of the jersey.
It's like the mustard gold.
Yeah. The mustard gold is like more of that old school 1967, 1968 Saints. Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah. But
I get what you're saying. But look, we got to talk about LSU.
Yeah. I was going to say, to bring it back to college football, LSU beating Clemson Saturday night. I have yet to watch the game in full. So like how we talked about sometimes in a morning ritual where I watched the Saints preseason game over 3 days, that's probably what's going to happen with LSU. I'll probably finish it by Friday in bits and pieces. But I did catch the final 7 minutes of the game, paying attention to it for news, but also like watching it on the YouTube TV on set to provide a kind of a score update on LSU. But yeah, man, an intense game, some controversy on the touchdown, replay review in motion, something that I talked about after the fact that it happened. Everybody's like, the NCAA robbed. My college group chat's like going crazy, and I'm like, well, what happened? And I saw it and was like, well, that sucked. Glad that didn't turn out to be bite them in the end. But yeah, LSU big win at the fake Death Valley. So yeah, just got to throw that shot in there. Clemson's last 2 times against LSU, they lost in the national title in the 2019 season, the year 2020, and then they lost at home in the first of the home and home series with Clemson. So a good Saturday night for the purple and gold. What was your vantage point in view of that game?
I watched the whole thing sitting on the couch. It was awesome. I think this was kind of the game that we've been waiting for LSU to have in one of these openers, because they've been challenging themselves. Brian Kelly has been very bold in those season openers with their opponents, but we haven't seen the performance, and it always seems to be one play here, one play there. There was that fumble early, and I'm kind of thinking, oh no, here we go again. But Garrett Nussmeier, such a steady hand in that game. I mean, you think years past, that touchdown gets called back, they miss a field goal, and it's like, oh, that's it. How can they recover from that?
Yeah.
LSU didn't blink. I mean, Nuss looked great. He made the plays he needed to make. He never felt like the moment was too big for him on the road. He was very calm. And, on a day when Arch Manning was very disappointing, and while I'm not panicking about Arch Manning yet, I think Garrett Nussmeier did himself a lot of favors. He looked really, really good. To me, was one of the more impressive performances by a quarterback, considering the situation he was in. And like you said, they should have won by 2 touchdowns. That was a 2-touchdown win. That catch, that was a catch. I mean, what are we doing?
Right.
How is it worse than the NFL? I don't get it.
They find a way. I thought, you make the catch, you establish possession, and then you hit the pylon, bam.
It's touchdown.
Touchdown. Should end the story. But even if the ball moved a little bit, he maintained control of it. It's not like it jostled out and hit the ground. Like, he had the ball. So let's get back to what a catch is. Like, you hold on it and it doesn't fall out. Obviously, there are moments where it hits the ground and you can obviously see where it loses possession, but that didn't happen. But either way, a W for LSU. And shout out to the LSU defense, only allowing 10 points on the road. Yeah. That's a unit that has been struggled in those pressure situations in the past. And they came through. Whit Weeks, Harold Perkins Jr. showing why they're the 2 best defenders on the team. And Blake Baker, defensive coordinator, has an interesting reunion with Louisiana Tech coming up this weekend, visiting Baton Rouge to kind of move the conversation forward. Shout out to Louisiana Tech for shutting out Southeastern, starting off 1-0, 5 more wins and they're bowl eligible. So my prediction is, still standing strong. We're 1/6 of the way there for Louisiana Tech. I do not think they'll win Saturday in Baton Rouge. Just my honest opinion and thought process. LSU is a 37.5, call it 38-point favorite against Louisiana Tech as the Bulldogs are coming to Baton Rouge for the first time since 2018. And should be a fun trip for, some Tech fans to come down there. I don't know how welcoming the Baton Rouge faithful will be for the folks from Ruston, but should be a nice trip to Baton Rouge, I would think, to, come and see the Tigers or the Bulldogs against the Tigers in Death Valley.
Yeah, and what a day it was and we just got our first Bill Belichick's girlfriend appearance on the game, by the way. After the first touchdown, she was hanging out with Randy Moss. I figured it was very.
Is she standing with Randy Moss?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, she'd be on the sidelines. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, she's not on the sideline. She's in the booth. But anyways.
Oh, she's in the booth. Okay.
Very, very, very important stuff there. But good for Tech to get that shutout. An exciting start to the year for them. They've got a little momentum. I mean, I know the bowl game didn't go the way they wanted to, but to get in that bowl game, to have that extra week of practice, they got a little momentum. Yeah, they're going to hit a roadblock here. Duh. I mean, and LSU's. I mean, they're going to be. You think maybe top 5 here after the way the weekend shook out?
I would think with Notre Dame losing, Alabama
Texas
losing. Texas, I think, will still be ahead of LSU in the rankings. They lost to the number 3 team in the nation, who could arguably have been number 1 based off the rankings of whatever.
Yeah,
so Texas maybe is 4 because the rankings haven't come out as of Monday. So we'll see how right we are when this drops on Wednesday. But I think LSU moves up to 6 potentially, with Texas going, to 4 or 5, so around that range, 5 or 6 for LSU, which is fine for them. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter until you get to those final rankings and you want to have a
Well, it
top
really doesn't
four.
matter. It really doesn't matter as much as it used to. Like you said, the top four, obviously. But I mean,
Right,
either way, if they're not top four, they can get a home playoff game, which would be awesome too. But we're
right.
getting way ahead of ourselves. But it's hard not to because look, for the past 5 years, you have a team out of LSU that has a lot of talent, has a good quarterback. That coach is supposed to be the guy, and then you're always trying to pick up the pieces after week one. So it's very exciting to look at the possibilities now that they have a huge win under their belt and the season just got going. Louisiana in general really was great. Grambling dominant. We mentioned Tech. We're
Man,
obviously going to
Graham.
talk a lot about. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry to cut you up, but yeah, that Grambling, that was an awesome experience for them to get a big win against Langston. Yes, not a big school and a major opponent, but just to see like 55 points on the scoreboard and in the all red jerseys in Shreveport,
Oh yeah.
awesome stuff for them. A good sized crowd. It was like more congregated towards the band, and there were more people like I feel like outside the stadium tailgating, kind of enjoying that as I was leaving to come back to edit some first quarter highlights. There were a lot of people there. They just weren't like
Yep.
in the stands. So if they're like you transplant those people into the stands, then I mean, Indy Bowl was probably, I would say 65, 70% full if you factor in everybody that was outside kind of enjoying the tailgating environment and everything. It was
And
a
that's huge for
great,
that's huge for Grambling.
yeah,
That you ever go to a Grambling game, good luck getting in or out because of all the people tailgating
right.
outside. It's a madhouse out there.
And
And my wife just got home, so you're going to hear the dogs howling. But we'll
hey,
we'll fight through it.
let's bring him in. Welcome back, Kim and the Huskies. So they're, I'm sure, excited to see Mom.
Yeah, well, they're excited
Also,
to see Mom. I'm not because she has COVID. So
well, good luck to Kim and your health, and good luck to you,
I'm not
Alex.
going.
Hopefully, you don't catch
I'm not
COVID.
going. I'm
Because
not going
that's
near him.
a scenario we don't want to experience on a Friday
Nope.
night, do we?
This is my Death Star quarantine era right now, so I'll be staying in here
It,
for the time being.
yeah. Speaking of the Death Star, Northwestern State Demons, the Death Star to the Alcorn State Braves, Thursday of this past week as they snapped the 20-game losing streak. Hadn't won in more than 1,000 days since 2022 of November. Awesome to see that on the stream at the very end of the game. Had a weather delay
Yep.
preventing them from getting that game done a lot sooner. But Alex, an awesome moment to see the Demons get a win and first win for head coach Blaine McCorkle, who's going to be on the show in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Oh, and he is awesome, right? I mean, he. We'll talk obviously a little more about it once we don't want to spoil the whole interview before we get there, but easy to see. It's not after talking to him for about 30 minutes. Not surprising that it didn't take him that long to get a win here. I think they got something going there in Natchitoches, and it's a lot of that. You know, we you see how college football is going, and we do talk about this with coach, but establishing that pride in your university and playing for something more than just money or what endorsement deals or whatever. I like what they got going down in Natchitoches. I think the folks in Demon Land should be excited for the first time in a very long time. And I mean, we have a couple NSU grads at the station, and I think you were still up in Texarkana Thursday night, but they
Mm.
were going wild, man, watching that game, and it was really really awesome. Yeah, I'm sure you can hear the Huskies right now. They're going insane.
I actually can't hear
Uh,
them, so I don't know the audio.
wow.
The audio is pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the AirPods have got a little bit of
Yeah.
noise cancellation on the outside. So shout out to the Huskies. So while you kind of deal with that, let's go ahead and toss to our interview with Northwestern State football head coach Blaine McCorkle.
Welcome into another interview with a very special guest here on the Benchwarmers, the head coach of the 1-0 Northwestern State Demons, Blaine McCorkle, in the house with us after that huge win for the Demons. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us. And what have the last 72 hours been like for you?
Yeah, thanks. Happy to be with you. I appreciate you guys having me. It's been an exciting weekend here in Natchitoches for sure. People are excited, and I think the entire campus and city of Natchitoches all took a collective sigh of relief. Like it's streak's finally over. We're alive and well. We're on our way to being back. We're not back, but we're on our way. And I think everybody's just feeling pretty good walking around town right now and excited to see what the rest of the season holds.
I can't imagine, you take the job a couple years ago, you know the work that's in front of you, and how much did that moment kind of live up to what you thought it would be?
Well, you're right. We knew when we took this a year and a half ago, year and 2/3 ago, whatever, what we signed up for, and it was a really rare situation. The program was going through something that really had never happened in the history of college football. Like you can't find another case where somebody shut down halfway through the season under those circumstances and started over. Like everybody wanted to compare it to SMU, but they took a 10, 15-year hiatus, completely different story. We jumped right back in. So it's a rare situation. But Thursday night to finally get one and put us kind of back out there to beat a Division One opponent. We didn't have to go play an NAIA or a D2 to make it happen. Really felt good. And it was kind of everything we hoped it would be. And just to see the faces of those kids after the game in the locker room was pretty special. And I think we'd all been waiting to see that for a long time.
Coach McCorkle, Daniel Brown here. In terms of relief, how does this win compare to others that you've had in the past throughout your coaching career in getting that weight lifted that's been a burden on this program, from support staff to administrators to coaches and, of course, the student athletes as well?
Yeah, I think it ranks up there pretty high. It's a little bit different. I was kind of thinking about that over the weekend, just the different, big wins I've been a part of in my career. And I've been very blessed to be in some pretty exciting moments and big wins, but I don't think there was ever one that was more significant. I mean, you've been a part of wins that, send you to the playoffs or win a conference championship or, a couple of times be able to upset the FBS team, whatever. You go through those things are really exciting. But I don't think there was ever one that's as monumental and needed as bad as this one. So I think there was a little bit different feeling after this one than maybe some of the other ones if I tried to rank them. And this was kind of in a category of its own because it was such a unique situation.
You have a group of kids that waited so long for a moment like that, but then you get delayed up 13-0. The Lightning comes in. What were the conversations you were having with the boys in the locker room in terms of, let's stay patient and let's make sure we're ready to go when we do get back on the field?
Yeah, I really didn't say a lot to him, to be honest with you. I actually said more to our athletic director, Kevin Boston, than anybody because I think he gets all fired up and nerved up, and he's a great competitor, and that's part of his beauty. But I saw him coming off the sideline going in, and I kind of told him that I felt like we had just won the game in that moment because I kind of know and trust the character of our players. I knew how they were going to respond. So really all I did was kind of turn it over to them to lead, which they did, and they led well to keep everybody focused. And I just kept them up to date on, schedules and making sure their bodies were right and putting fuel in their system and doing those things. So it was more of a logistical management than a motivational management because I had no doubt they were going to come back out and play and do everything they had to do to finish the game. So as soon as it happened, I kind of in a strange way said, good for us.
And Coach, how many field stormings have you been a part of, whether in your time as a student and growing up and now as a coach?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think when I was at Chattanooga, we kicked the last second field goal to beat Georgia Southern when they were ranked pretty high in the nation. And I think a lot of people rushed the field there. That was a big day. I'd have to think back. At Belhaven, I'm not going to say we rushed the field, but when we won the championship our last year there, actually got a big picture of it over here on my left right now. There were a lot of people on that field for a really, really long time. It was a trophy presentation and all that stuff. But there were people on the field for 3, 4 hours after the game, just enjoying the moment. But probably the biggest one I've been a part of was when I was playing my junior year at LSU. We beat Florida, who was number 1 in the nation. They stormed the field, tore down the goalpost. I remember standing right between the uprights. It came down right. If I was a field goal, I'd have been good. And that was a real unique, special moment. So I've been a part of a few, but again, in terms of the significance of the moment and what it meant to a city as a whole and to our kids, I don't think there's ever one that was maybe more enjoyable than this one.
And you were telling us off air that the Lightning delay may have saved the goalpost down there in Turpin.
That's right. Yeah, it lessened the crowd a little bit. A lot of guys, a huge crowd stayed. I mean, our students, I give them credit. The majority of them stayed, but the ones that left and went home, they missed a pretty good party after. I'll tell you that. And probably wasn't quite enough of them to really overwhelm the security they had around the goalpost. But it probably did save those things and keep them upright.
How important is that? Like when you think about the students that stayed through that delay, that stormed the field, the pride in that in your school, and what football can do in that regard. How important is it to have these students that are believing again in their school?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you can, I mean, we all know it's true, but statistics prove it to be true. When you have winning football, it changes a college campus. Enrollment goes up, the feeling on campus goes up, involvement in other activities goes up. Everything gets better on a college campus when you're winning in football. And I think that gave us all here in Natchitoches a small glimpse of what that can do for the campus, because that was probably the most united I've seen our entire campus in one moment, in the year and a half I've been here. And it's pretty neat to see everybody come together and kind of for a common cause. And it was a very collegial moment. It was pretty cool.
And this is just one of many wins to come for you and the Demons in this coming season and in years ahead. What was the message to the team to not only let them celebrate this moment, but focus on the bigger tasks at hand that you have for this Demons football program?
Yeah, usually when you win a game, you have that 24-hour rule. You celebrate it for 24 hours, then you get back to work on the next opponent. But with this being a Thursday game, I told them we're going to celebrate this one a little bit longer. So we broke that rule this week because it was a Thursday game. But when we came in yesterday into the facility, we kind of put it to rest, and there was I got a lot of text messages and phone calls, and there was a lot of social media posts and things like that. That was great and really appreciated. And I don't make a lot of social media posts. I just kind of retweet or whatever the stuff that the athletic department puts out. That's kind of the extent of what I do. But I did put a post out Sunday kind of thanking everybody for the support. It really meant a lot. But we still got a long way to go, and now it's time to go back to work. So I was kind of pleading to everybody that thank you, let's put it to rest. Now we got to go to work, because one game does not a season make, and we have got a lot of work to do, and we still have a lot of improvement to do to get where we want to go. So now we're back to work, and we got a big one ahead of us this week at Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure. And when you talk about the social media posts, I think one that most people were sharing around was, everyone saying, "Wow, we didn't know that Coach McCorkle was so jacked, man." Everyone was surprised by by you were kind of popping out of that polo. How funny was that when you see people reacting
Yeah, I
that
don't
way?
know. I think the camera caught me at a good angle, maybe. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I think you do pretty well. How much we benching these days, Coach?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't put a lot of weight on the bar. I got to work out at home in the garage, and my son spots me, so I don't go too high. But I did used to compete a little bit back in the day, and then I enjoy it. It's some coaches like to golf, some coaches like to go fishing, and I like to lift weights. And at lunchtime, that's what I do. That's my solitude. As I go home and get a little workout in and whatever. But I kind of joke with our kids all the time. If I ask them to gain weight and get big and strong, I can do the same thing, right? So I'm not going to ask them to do something I'm not willing to do. So, but no, I enjoy that, and it's kind of my hobby, I guess, if you will. And my wife got a kick out of that post. I showed it to her. I said, "Hey, look at this, honey." And she asked me, she said, "Well, what's a unit?" I said, "Well, you're looking at it." So anyway, she keeps me humble. She keeps me humble. But no, it was the players had some fun with it too. So anyway.
Yeah,
Coach,
yeah.
show off
Go
the
ahead, David.
guns. Show off the guns. But kind of going back into your bio a little bit. You're obviously head coach now at Northwestern State. You've been at various institutions. When did you first kind of find that coaching itch of something? This is what I want to do for my career.
Probably at birth, honestly. I mean, my dad was a coach. I mean, I grew up in it. I tell people I'm 49 years old and I've been in college football for 49 years. And that's really true. Like, I really never, I don't think there was ever a point in my life where I really ever thought about doing anything else. I mean, it's just kind of our family business. Like I said, I went to three high schools in three states because my dad was bouncing around coaching. My first cousin is the head coach at Dartmouth. He's a career college coach too. I've got an older cousin that's retired now that he was a college coach for years. It's kind of our family business, and it's what we do. So I really don't want to or can't imagine life without it. So it's kind of who we are.
And how cool is it for you to be back in Louisiana doing your thing?
Yeah, that's something that I kind of chased for I guess 25, 26 years. Ever since I left LSU, I always kind of wanted to come back to the state because, being a coach's kid and moving around a lot, you don't really have a place to call home. Like I said, going to three high schools in three states, I don't get invited to any class reunions, and that's just kind of how it works. So when I went to LSU, I was there 5 years, and that was longer than I've lived anywhere in my life. So it kind of became home pretty quick. And then all of a sudden, you develop, lifetime friends and family and things like that in the state. And your best memories are in this state. And it's got some of the best football in the world right here in the state in our backyard. And the people, the passion, the food, like everything about this state, I just fell in love with. And I've been working for, 25 plus years to get back. So I'm pretty fired up about that. I'm okay if I stay in the state the rest of my life.
And Coach, I'm sure a lot of Northwestern State Demons fans agree with that statement there. And I'll take Natchitoches off the board in terms of your favorite coaching stops. In your coaching career, you're a transplant, as you said. You know, three high schools in 3 years for you at that stage. As a professional coach, what has been kind of maybe one of your more memorable stops? Like I said, removing Natchitoches from the board. What kind of stands out for you?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot, and it's really a hard question to answer because they're all unique and they all have their own unique kind of characteristics of where you were and memories and things like that. Sometimes it's easier to say the ones that you didn't like, you know, more than the other. I'm not going to name those. I'm not going to do that to them. But, my time at Bellhaven was really, really special because kind of like here, we got to build a program from rock bottom and turn it into a conference championship team. It's my first chance to be a head coach, and I really fell in love with those kids at that Division III level. It's rare and it's unique. But before that, if I probably had to pick my top two, my time at Liberty and my time at Richmond were really special. We had some really, really good teams. Worked on a staff that was really close and had great leadership with our head coach Danny Rocco and coached some really good kids that I still keep in touch with. So those are probably my top two, but they're also the two that probably had the most success with. So winning helps that. But they've all been fun and they've all been unique, and I carry great memories from all of them.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, many more memories to come here in Natchitoches. And talk to me about the city, man. You've been here over a year now. Where's that spot we're eating? Meat pies. What are some of the things in Natchitoches that have really stood out to you?
Well, the meat pies are real. The meat pies are no joke. You were kind of giving me a hard time a minute ago. If you want to find some good protein and put on a couple pounds, you can find some meat pies here to get your beef levels up for sure. But there's a lot of places to eat here. Christmas here is like nowhere else in the world. If you haven't done Christmas in Natchitoches, you're missing out. It's a city of lights for a reason. We actually put city of lights on the back of our helmets because that's just Natchitoches is Northwestern State and it's Christmas. That's what we are. And it's
Yep.
it's a cool place and it's got unbelievable character and culture here. And as far as a small college town, you kind of can't beat it. I mean, it's really really neat. And there's other ones in the state, but I don't think any of them have the personality, that this one does. And it's been a neat place. And as far as places to eat, every time my parents come in town, I take them to a different place. I got to get through all of them. So we went to T. Johnny's the other day after the game on Friday night to celebrate and sat there by the water. And my mom had a big thing of catfish and rice, and it was awesome. So it's a good place.
And I kind of getting off the beaten path a little bit of fun questions. When you're in the weight room lifting weights or driving around heading to a recruiting spot, what do you have on the playlist? What are you listening to get you pumped up or maybe calm you down on those long road trips?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm pretty eclectic. I kind of bounce around from a little bit of everything. I'm not a big heavy metal guy. I'm not a big rap guy. But other than that, if it's playing, I'm probably listening to it. I listen to a lot of country. Listen to a lot of '80s rock and roll. Doesn't get any better than that. Also listen to a lot of praise music. I put a lot of praise music on, and that grounds you a little bit, settles you down, keeps you focused. So I mix it up pretty good.
And
You just have to be able to understand the words. If I can't understand the words, it's not worth it.
I mean, that's totally fair, man. I feel that 100%.
Yeah.
It makes me feel old when I like someone says something like that. And I'm like, oh, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what about TV shows, movies? What is that thing that we're streaming? When we have downtime.
Let's see. What's the last one we did? So my wife and I've been into Suits lately. Suits is pretty good.
Oh
That's a good
yeah.
one. A year or so ago, it took me a while because I couldn't make myself watch a soccer show. I just couldn't get over that hump. But I think Ted Lasso was a phenomenal series. I mean, it's funny. It's a comedy, but there's so many coaching lessons in there. If you kind of sit back and let the show be a little bit deeper than just a silly show about a football coach coaching soccer. There's a lot in there. So Ted Lasso was incredible. I know they're talking about doing another season of it, but I'm not sure how they would do that because it ended pretty strong. But yeah, pretty much every summer, my kids and I go through the entire Rocky series. That's a big one for us.
Oh
Love
yeah.
the Rocky series. That's a given. In fact, I did a big thing on him during the preseason. I kind of brought him to life as a real person with some themes in the season, our nighttime team meetings with PowerPoints and stuff. And a couple of kids actually asked me, "He's like, is he really like a real guy? I didn't know that." I'm like, "Yeah, he's real." So anyway, I kind of go that route a little bit.
Oh, I love that, man. That is awesome. And I did want to do a more serious question. We mentioned something earlier that I wanted to get back to. You talked about being at Bellhaven, building a program, obviously from the rock bottom. You accepted that challenge. You've done the same thing at Northwestern State. We know what that says about you, but what do you think about those players that stick around? Your guys on your roster right now that went through some of those tough times, or maybe joined this team and wanted to be part of a rebuild here.
Well, it says a lot because you can't build or rebuild anything without the players. Your coach is only as strong as his players, and you've got to have good kids in your locker room to do it from a talent standpoint, and from a character standpoint. Yeah, I really admire the players on our team, and there's not many of them that stayed through the storm here. I think there's only like 4 players on our team right now that played for this previous staff longer than they've now played for us,
Wow.
because like the freshmen that came in that year, they were only with that staff for 3 months before it shut down. So there's only like 4 upperclassmen beyond that, right? So there's maybe 18 or 20 that are still here from that. But I really admire and respect them because they went through some massive changes. They saw their season shut down. They saw all their teammates leave and bail out, quit on them. They had a new head coach and staff come in with a completely different personality and flow than the previous one. Not that they were wrong; it's just different, right? And they kind of stuck through it and they bought into something. And then the kids that we brought in, they came here truly just on blind faith. They had nothing to go off of other than hearing our story, hearing our vision, saying, yeah, I want to be a part of that. So I really have a lot of respect and admiration for the kids in our locker room right now. And going back to when we were at Bellhaven and did it, it was the exact same thing. There were a few kids that stayed through the storm. The ones that came in on blind faith, and it worked. They bought in, they believed. And in today's society with the portal, it's so easy to quit, right? I'm not going to say transfer. It's so easy to quit because let's
Yep.
call it what it is. That's what you're doing. You're quitting. And so we kind of set a goal here that one of our goals, we have 7 goals in our program, and one of them is to lead the Southland Conference every year in the fewest number of transfers.
Wow.
And right now we're doing that. So last year there were 2 transfer cycles, one in December after the season, one in April about the time spring practice was wrapping up. And after the fall season last year, when we didn't win a game, we finished 7th in the fewest number of teams, the fewest number of players leaving at the portal. We had 11. 3 of them we asked to leave. So really we had 8, where other people in our conference had, 15, 18, 22, 24, 26. And then we got to the spring window, we only had 1, and that was the lowest. So we met that goal in the spring. Only 1 guy went in the portal, and that's coming off a team that hasn't had much success. So what that's telling us is the kids are buying in and believing. In the spring, when I told them there was 1 guy in the portal, they kind of looked around and said, well, who is it? What's that tell you, right? So I think we got good kids right now that, regardless of recent history, are buying in and believing what we're selling. And if they'll continue to do that and stick together, it'll work. It'll work.
That's awesome. You kind of get me fired up, Coach. I'm ready. I'm ready to get out there and play. And you did talk about obviously the change in college football. We see it all over the place, particularly at the higher levels, right? But how much, a night like Thursday night, a city like Natchitoches, the team, how much of that captures that essence of what college football is at its core?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the fears, that those moments are going to disappear,
Right.
with it turning into such a business. I mean, we coach professional football now. We just do. That's just real. And if we can find a way to hold on to those old college try moments, if you will, they're special and they're needed. And kids need to experience those things. They need to learn how to stick out through hard times. They need to learn how to fight a little bit, and they need to learn to what we did Thursday night. They need to learn what it feels like to overcome those things. So, because if they don't do it now, when are they ever going to do it in life? So it's so important that we keep teaching those lessons and keep stressing it. And, maybe even in our small world, maybe if nobody else is going to do it like we're doing at Northwestern, even if we're just taking 100 kids at a time instead of all the NCAA, well, all right, we can build that mindset and change 100 kids at a time, to learn how to fight and stick out hard times.
Oh man, I love it. Well, Coach, I know we had some technical issues to start, so we'll let you get out of here. I did want to leave you with a closing thought here. My sister is a proud Northwestern State grad. We got a couple of them at the station. My sister's watching Demon football games again, and I wish I should have taken a video of the girls at the station freaking out when that game went final. It was awesome, Coach. So
That's great.
you're making a huge difference, man, and we're so happy for you and the city and the university to have you here, and we're looking forward to many more wins, my man.
You bet. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
So shout out
What a
to
guy.
Coach Blaine McCorkle, a unit as he's described, and dealing with their technical issues. I was kind of like jumping different, frames and all of that. But Coach McCorkle, a steady hand. Alex, an awesome interview with him.
Yeah, he was fantastic. The unit thing. At first, I thought I was getting a little scared. I was glad I was on Zoom when I asked him about the being a unit thing. But we recovered. He was like, yeah, I don't know, we're good. But no,
Yeah.
he is awesome. And it is very frustrating when you have technical issues, when you have someone like a college coach or someone that's just very busy. But we powered through, and he's very gracious with his time. So we're certainly appreciative of that. We got to have him on again. As the season goes along. And I did want to mention. I know you gave your TO. I don't have a TO, if I'm being honest, because we had a Friday football fever, Southern Classic Chicken Friday football fever. We got one under our belt. I'm feeling great. I know that we haven't talked a lot about it in this show. We're going to try to keep high school talk to a minimum in this show because we're still going to do the Point After podcast with Coach Harper. So we don't want to say the same thing over and over again. But I did want to say, since it was the first show, just to have that thing gone, and now we're getting in the routine. We got a player of the week tomorrow, all that business as usual, and it's very comforting to finally be there. And of course, Daniel, how can you be TO'd when NFL Sunday is here? It is finally week 1 in the NFL. I don't care if the Saints are going to be bad. I don't care if the gold jerseys are going week 1, which I feel like you got to hold on to that. I don't care if it's Spencer Rattler. We're going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
And then the Dallas Cowboys open the season Thursday night tomorrow when this airs against the Philadelphia Eagles with a Micah Parsons-less Cowboys. Man, I just look. I was talking with my brother. I was just like, the day after it went down, I was like, imagine waking up being a Cowboys fan and your future Hall of Famer, potential future Hall of Famer, and certified All-Pro is just gone because your owner went through the back channel of trying to negotiate with the player instead of negotiating with the agent, and it all blew up in his face. And I don't care if you think that Kenny Clark's a great defensive tackle and you get 2 first-rounders. Like, bro,
dude, what are you hoping to pick with the 2 first-rounders?
Right.
Micah Parsons.
Right.
You want Micah Parsons.
You got the guy.
That's the type.
You got the guy.
Like, it makes no sense. Arch Manning, or Matt says, but maybe not. Either way, you pray that one of those picks turns into a guy like Micah Parsons, because the Packers aren't going to be bad enough for him to be worth it. Like, they're not. The Packers are good.
The Packers are trying to win. Packers are in win now mode. They're trying to win the Super Bowl this year, as most teams that have a legitimate shot, and a good quarterback under center should be doing. And we've been thinking the Cowboys are going to be that team for several years, but it's not breeding a lot of confidence. I hope it works out for the Cowboys in that regard. Like, I don't wish them disparity. I'm not like a Cowboys hater or anything like that. We obviously have our connection to Dak Prescott with the Houghton, native and go Bucks go. But it ain't. I don't believe in them this year.
No. And I mean, it was shaky to begin with, right? I mean,
and how does the locker room feel about that? Like, a team leader, certified unit, to use that for Michael Parsons, and you trade him away, and it was all self-inflicted. It was all self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, to be a Dallas sports fan in general, right? You lose Luka this same year.
Yeah.
Also a very head-scratching, what the hell's going on type of deal. But the Micah, like you said, it proves which team is serious about winning and which team is not. Because teams that are serious about winning do not trade their Pro Bowl pass rusher in a league where the way you win in the playoffs is by having Pro Bowl pass rushers.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing that he actually let it happen. And at what point, I mean, does Stephen Jones have zero power in this relationship?
Yes,
because at what point,
Jerry Jones owns the team and he's the dad. So
I love Dave. I love my dad more than most people in the world. He can oftentimes be an idiot.
Let me not say zero power, but in terms of like controlling what actually goes down, the way the story is told, he was one of the main figures of like why they didn't draft Johnny Manziel. Johnny
Right.
Manziel. So like he has some say and some sway. So let me not be completely dismissive of his part in the organization.
I'll be dismissive. I'll do it.
I'll let
But
you
no,
have that one, yeah. But yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
it's Jerry Jones's show, and he wants all the credit, and you know the
I'm just trying to
Cowboys.
think if I'm just trying to think of the relationship between my dad and I, and I'm sitting in a room with him, and he's on the phone with the Packers, and I'm to the background being like, no,
Right,
no, shut it down,
right,
shut it down.
yeah.
But whatever. I
The
mean,
behind the scenes TikTok book of eventually of how everything gone down will be an interesting read on the Athletic one day, or ESPN.com. Whoever does the investigative aspect behind that. But yeah,
yep.
Micah Parsons, the Green Bay
It's,
Packers, Week 4. So that'll be fun when they come back
yeah.
Sunday Night Football.
How perfect that it was a Sunday night. And obviously it's two teams that are expected to be good in the Cowboys, so it's not hard to believe they would have a primetime game against each other.
Right.
But it's so perfect to have that Sunday night early in the year. That's going to be a lot
Mike
of fun.
Tirico is just like
Hey,
loving it.
Collinsworth, there's a guy.
Yeah. So
You get me fired up again. I cannot wait to
yeah.
watch y'all. I love it so much. And I will say this. I and Daniel, you know this more than probably our listeners, but I am not self-admittedly not a huge college football guy, like just in general. Like I
Yeah.
will watch the big games. This weekend, I watched more college football in a few days than I have in years. So I'm trying to get back on the wagon. I watched every play of that LSU game. I had Tech on the side screen.
Yeah.
Couldn't watch a little Grambling because that wasn't on like YouTube TV or whatever.
Yeah.
But
SWAC
um,
TV, YouTube.
yep,
Well, no, they actually have like a SWAC TV website to where you can go and watch it for future reference. If
right.
you want to
Okay,
pull up
good
the
to know.
stream.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. But yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to get back. I'm getting into my college football era. I'm watching it. Today, since it is my off day, I watched. Well, I had it in the background while I was gaming, but there's a point to this story. I watched all three Jackass movies, 1 through 3D. Right.
Mm.
It was awesome. They had them on Pluto TV. They were just rolling back to back. One of the Huskies gets to. She only watches TV when there's an animal on the screen, and like when there's an animal, she's like dialed in.
Yeah.
Won't take her eyes off the TV. For 3 Jackass movies, she sat there and just stayed. Like she was amazed. I don't know. I think Kits knows ball. I think she understood how funny it was. It was awesome. So yeah, that's been my day today.
She
Very
was
exciting.
dialed in. She was locked in.
Yeah, I mean, me and her both. I was about to just pull up a chair with some popcorn and sit right there next to her. But yeah. So that's been the most exciting part of my day, minus the of course Blaine McCorkle interview. That was fun too. But yeah, college football is back. NFL is back. Friday Football Fever is back. We will have Coach Harper back for the Point After Pod. We're shooting that tomorrow. Comes out Thursday, so we'll have 2 straight days of KTBS Sports podcasts. Oh boy, we're really getting into it, Daniel.
Yeah, man. College football, high school football, pro football is here, and we'll be here for as much as we can to talk about it and bring you those highlights and crunches of the night and everything else that kind of
Yeah.
goes along with it. Sock check. I'll see if I can get these up. I don't know if it'll blend in. It may get washed out because they're green. It's piccolo, so it's kind of blended in, but it is piccolo. I do have green in this tie, but I guess it's not messing with the chroma.
I didn't prepare for this.
Spoiler alert, there's a green screen behind me.
I didn't prepare for this. I'm actually barefoot right now. Hold on, I'll get something to compensate.
I don't know if we need to see the bare feet, but
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Don't give the ladies what they want. They want to see those.
We'll just go with this.
Hey, it's
Yes.
it's a clone trooper.
That's right. That's
All right.
You got it.
Yeah, I didn't want to disappoint with the incorrect terminology. There we go. That's
Perfect.
cool.
Yeah. So we got a few helmets here on the wall. I mean, I would do a full Death Star reveal, but it's not super duper clean, and my wife would not be happy if I did that. So we'll save that for another time. We'll save that for the next Monday. I take off, and we'll clean it up. And we'll get a full Death Star reveal for everybody.
Gotcha.
Got a few helmets I could show, but yeah, man. I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. I do. Always appreciate everybody for hanging out. And again, big thanks to Coach McCorkle for dealing with our little camera snafu we had there. Great guest, and really love what they're doing down there in Natchitoches. So Daniel, you will be at Benton this Friday, correct? That's our
Benton
game
and
of the week.
Northwood, a game of the week. Our Pioneer Comfort Systems, they'll keep you in your comfort zone. And I will be in my comfort zone on the sidelines of a high school football game. And looking forward to the Tigers and Falcons facing off.
And remember, when Coach Dennis goes against Northwood, sometimes awesome stuff happens.
Things.
So we'll look forward. Hopefully, we'll see what happens, but we do hope it's a good game. Plenty to choose from in week 1, and we'll be all over it. So if you're looking for more high school football discussion, we're going to have that on the Point After with Coach Harper. This will release Wednesday. Coach Harper's podcast with me will be on Thursday. So a lot to get to. Football is back. I love you all, and I'll be back to work on Tuesday tomorrow. So have a good one, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with the Benchwarmers.
Kim, get well soon.